What's up, everyone? How's it going? Welcome to today's market analysis or trade recap episode. Today is Monday, July 7th, and we took one trade. It ended up being a break-even trade, but there was another opportunity that we wanted to double check and see if there was any opportunity for us to enter there as well. But that's how our day has been scheduled, and that's how our day has performed. So let's get straight into the factors that resulted in us taking these trades and conclude an overall market analysis of the day. So let me just mark out all the key levels that we wanted to talk about and tell you guys about our pre-market game plan that we had coming into this. So first of all, what we had are preferable outcomes. You had it out like this. We wanted to see a reaction off of this 4 hour or this gap fill area, but we're still more preferring an upwards movement. It looks like from the action that we've seen today that price has went all the way down to this 2 hour, and that 2 hour is where we found support. Most of the day was just a move down, and unfortunately we weren't on the right side. Our risk was manageable, so we were break even. There was not a meaningful reaction on higher time frame from this gap fill area, and it was past our time by the time it came to the 4 hour. So that is also a reason that we may have taken a break-even trade today. But essentially, what I wanted to see was a reaction off of these different levels here. And depending on how price reacted at this level, then I'm either going to take a long betting on a reversal play on the short term and continuation on the higher time frame, or I'll play a continuation of the shorts, which means likely a reversal on the higher time frame. And that's how we just based our game plan. We just wanted to see a reaction off of this level. If we push above, we'll take longs. If we see absorption, we'll take longs. If we break through and see a retracement into a barrier with absorption, we'll take a short. And that's just how our game plan was. NQ as well, it's just leading us on to believe the same ideology. And as you can see, there's lots of levels down below. Price wanted to react off of for us to seek reaction. But let's just get onto the 5 minute and start looking on Bookmap and work from market open to market to early New York session end to see, first of all, what made us take this opportunity. Was the opportunity a good break-even trade or a bad break-even trade? What could we have done better? And more. We'll also see if there's anything that we may have missed out on and see if there's an opportunity that we could have taken where the red circles are. So shout out to Alex with Think with Bookmap. He's doing a great thing with his channel, and you can take advantage of the live streams without fully paying for the Bookmap or without fully paying for the Bookmap software. So let's just go straight to 8:30 a.m. which is 9:30 EDT. And what we saw was that price made a move up and then continued and showed the aggression towards the downside. As we swept this, we came down, we started generating this liquidity towards that support sell side. Now we do have this key level here at 6295, and that's where we're looking to see a reaction. I'm just getting my footprint charts right where they're supposed to be. And as we see, price does come up to this relative area, that 6305 area, within this candle, and that candle is essentially a very distributed candle. I would expect to see absorption here and a sell-off continuation, but again, no trades there. It's not 8:45 unless we see a great setup. Typically wait until after. Only if we see a liquidity flipping setup will take before 8:45 or 9:45 Eastern. So I'll just keep heading on to the future. And as you can see, this level is holding very significantly. Sellers are able to come in, but they are not able to push down there. Same thing, buyers are coming in, but they're unable to push through at the top there. And we're seeing that happen here as well. Look at this 840 candle, right? Large amounts of volume near the top, large buying delta near the top. And relative to the area, we're seeing a large aggressive selling delta here, right around that relative area, potentially leading us to believe that sellers are preventing this participant from moving higher. And now here, if you look once again, we see a more significant level here around this 6307 area. Talking about this dark red here. And I'm looking to see what that, if we head up to that dark red or how we react. And it looks like we've seen absorption and a reaction from this above level. And that likely allowed price to go down, but then it does look like we've seen seller absorption here at this level. Can clearly see that. And that seller absorption potentially happened through those icebergs. But yeah, as we've mentioned, we do go up to those significant sell barrier. And that's where we actually devote a lot of our high volume towards, because as you see, right, as we come up towards that area, what we see happen is that price generates a lot of volume at this area. Sorry for the mic tap. Price generates a lot of volume at this area, and we're seeing a lot of buyers get in, and we're seeing aggressive sellers get in as well. What this is telling me is that buyers may be trying to get in, but they're unable to push above this level. So this would likely be a key level of absorption. Although we do see that price goes above a bit, this is where the main absorption happened. Right after price went above, we're not getting too much volume. It's although it's buying delta, not much volume at all. Aggressive buying is not showing interest above this level. So this is potentially going to be a top. And let's just keep moving forward so you get a better idea. See, now we do have a buying barrier here. Do we see absorption at that area? Let's see. No, we break straight through. Now we're just sitting around this area. We break down that area as well. Continue to break down. No setups throughout any of this. There's nothing really showing us anything. But what we've noticed here, price saw absorption here, then went all the way down to the significant liquidity that we had on Bookmap down here, which would be around 6295-ish area. And we don't happen to take it out quite yet. Now here, nah, nothing there. Nothing significant quite yet. We're just gonna keep going because now we're just chopping around that area. But as you see, we do head up into that lower area, and what happens is we actually sweep it with pretty good significance, as you can tell right there. And that puts us around these two candles. Now, as you can see, coming up very soon is where we have taken our trade, a reversal model that as well. Well, let me tell you the reason we took the reversal model. What we've seen happen, especially on the footprint, right? We've seen this aggressive selling come in and come in. And down here, we have seen a lot of aggressive selling where there's volume, but price is not going much lower, as you can see here. Then aggressive buying starts to kick in. And looking simply at the distribution of liquidity here, it does shift to more of a bullish side. And if you look at 6310, that is going to be pretty significant liquidity. We've already swept this area. We've potentially seen absorption in this area. Passive buyers look to be holding that area still, and their targets for price to head towards above. With that, and the fact that selling looks to be dying off and aggressive buying is starting to kick back into the markets, we entered a long position betting that price would head to 6310. Because we did have a long bias, because coming into pre-market we did believe that price would come down to this relative area and then bounce back and continue with our long lasting uptrend. But that was not the case here for today. Although this buying did come in, although it was a decent signal, it's hard to actually classify whether these barriers were significant, and to confirm our entry, we potentially could have used a retracement model, especially on low volume days like Monday. I'm not going to necessarily say this trade was a bad trade, because I don't think it was a bad trade. On any typical day this could have played out, and we didn't lose anything on this trade either. It was break even. We are working with the market and trying to understand and gauge the market and seek what the market and where the market wants to head. If you get stopped out break even, that's telling us that price may not want to head towards the upside, and the actual direction may be towards the downside. And that's essentially how today went. We saw these buying, we saw this buying coming, we saw the barriers falling upwards. That gave us interest in position ourselves towards the buy side. We entered right at 6299, so right around here. And initially we kept our stop loss below this area, but as we've been seeing these barriers move up, we moved it to the closest barrier, and if that barrier would have gotten broken, that's when we would have exited. So as you can see, we do have this area here at 6300, right? We have 104 passive buyers sitting at 6300. If we break that with aggressive selling, we will go ahead and cut our position and become risk off. And that's what happened, and that's why we became risk off at that moment. Additionally, that does signal that there may be potential absorption here at the top, because there is large volume. And we see price come in and take out this heat on Bookmap. We see aggressive selling start to pop in near the highs. We don't see much buying there anymore. or significant buying as compared to selling, and the price is starting to fall down with the presence of aggressive selling. That's a pretty telltale sign of invalidation, and that is where we exited. Now moving forward, we saw this selling start to come, but there was no real area that we could have taken a retracement play off of. Because now that we have identified that this level down here around this 1 hour area did not did not result in aggressive buying up towards upper liquidity, that told us that price may want to head down. But we still needed additional confirmation of that as well. Here, once we saw aggressive selling start to pop in, break through that lower barrier and level, that essentially confirmed to us that selling might be the direction to take here today. Now we just keep breaking through our lower barriers and continue moving towards the downside. And as you can see, now we're chopping around that lower area. We break out towards the upside. We're coming back down. Now we're hovering once again. We start moving down. I want to see what happened here right at 9:45. 9:45. Prior to 9:45, we come up to this relative area. I would not consider that a barrier per se, simply because it's not showing significance as compared to the typical level. Typical level seems to be around 70, and these are simply just at 90 and 80. Nothing too significant for us. This is where very aggressive selling pops in. Remember, big spike of sellers come in at this point. We'll see that soon. Yeah, there we go. There's that big spike of sellers that we saw around in that 950 candle. Then now, the game plan from here was simply to see if you could take a retracement play towards the short side, seeing as there is significant liquidity down there. If we potentially flip liquidity, make a barrier here, and we see absorption in that barrier, we can enter short and likely catch a great move. But let's see. There was a very significant barrier that did show up, but price was unable to get there within the standard market time. Because as you see here, we do see a decent significant size liquidity there, but we never tap into it. There we take it, I think. Yeah, we take that liquidity. Then we come up to significant liquidity, or that significant, there we go. There's a creation of that very significant liquidity right at 6290. 6290, we wanted price to head up into there, take it out and see absorption. Then we will enter short, targeting 6281.25. And if we move forward, look, we get really close here. We execute 5 orders, but no real absorption showing and no real confirmation that this is not a spoofing participant. So we keep moving forward. Same thing. We get super close but never actually tap into it. Then sellers come and break in the lower bound. And there we're still breaking the lower bound. We're going all the way down almost to 6281.25. And then we finally come up. And we come up with pretty good strength as well, as you can see there. Now we're just waiting and want price to touch into that level. And I mean, we do see that occur. Right after our market session. So right at 10:32, we saw that happen. Our market session ends at 10:30. So this circle right here is invalidated because you could not have taken a trade there. Second one likely would have been valid simply because we saw it get swept. But the only thing about this one was how could we know that there's absorption there, seeing as the entire thing had gotten taken? Because now realistically we're heavily deviated from VWAP, right? We're very deviated from VWAP, and now there's essentially nothing preventing price from heading upside. If this barrier repositioned itself, then maybe a short position could have been more confident. And here we're seeing volume distributed throughout the candle, not just necessarily at that top area, but we do see that that top area likely got executed, seeing as all these buy orders likely got converted into these passive sell orders. And we do not see much interest. But here, ooh, here we see that another participant pop up. So potentially we could have found an entry here, 6287.75. So let's just say we do 6287.75, 6287.75, somewhere around there. Where would our stop loss be? Our stop loss would be above this. So 6290. We place, let's just say, maybe that would have gotten us ticked out. Hmm. Say we keep our stop. I wouldn't keep it 1 point above. Even if it was 1 point above would have worked. But anything less than 1 point would have resulted in a loss. Oh, okay, makes sense. This was a peak above. We defended that once again, once he came below. So, although we would have kept our stop loss around there, it looks like we've got stopped out. But we peaked above it here. Now that area is getting redefended. Now price may want to head down. And where are we going to target, guys? Well, the only reasonable target that we see is 6281.25, so we'll keep it at 6280.25 or 6282.25. There we go. We likely would have kept our take profit there, and wow, what do you guys notice about this particular trade? The Sharpe ratio of this trade is pretty high. We are managing risk, right? That's what we want to do. We don't necessarily want to gain the highest returns while with the maximum risk. That would essentially be gambling. We want to manage our downside. We don't want to be in the downside for too long. And as you see in this trade is barely in the downside, maybe for perhaps 1 point. And if we see what happens after this, let's just take a look. We're stalling for quite a bit of time, but that's just 5 minutes. Nothing too significant. We do see that sell-off occur. Straight into our target. 6280. And we do happen to take out that 6280 level as well, simply likely because it's so close. And what we see is that price heads straight down into our target and takes it. So this trade right here, we missed out on because it was not in our market session time. But say we were on the charts, this would have been a very nice trade to take, and one that we definitely could have taken and learned from. One thing that would have made this trade better is the occurrence and appearance of barriers following price down. Then we could have managed our risk more effectively and kept our stop even into profits with legitimate evidence. But other than that, this trade looks pretty good and takes us right into our liquidity. So this setup would have been a great trade and a winning trade here for today. And I'm not using selective bias as well. Remember, we did a backtesting session and we did see potential losses that we could have taken. Remember, we're not just trying to nitpick the ones that will make us succeed, but also the ones that show the weaknesses and the struggles within a certain strategy. And it is our job to identify these different things so that we can maximize the conditions to essentially ensure maximum performance within the systems that we've created. And yeah, that's how I'm going to conclude this video. If you guys want to start practicing using order flow, using Addis charts like this for completely free using historical data, and I think it's free for crypto as well, take advantage of the link in description. Addis has been a V2 channel partner for a while now, and they're honestly one of the best footprint tools that I have personally used, simply because it's very easy to set up, looks pretty clean, and it's much cheaper in my opinion in regards to data as well. So take a look at this if you want to start practicing and integrating order flow into your strategy today, because I believe that order flow may be that defining math factor that gives some strategies an edge over another. Although some chart strategies may succeed, realistically there's such things known as alpha decay, and when you do find something and a logical system that has been set up in place, let's say without discretion, then that typically gets covered up by the market very quickly, and that is a reason why many strategies have not been automated, simply because of that level of discretion. But other than that, take advantage of order flow if you're using a discretionary trading strategy, and do some more research into it as well. But that's all I have here for today. You can also see the Bookmap live stream. If you have any questions, feel free to join the free, completely free Discord server. The link is in the description down below. If you have any questions, feel free to pop in there and ask me, and I truly believe you can get a thing or two out of it. Yeah, that's all I really have. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning for the pre-market live stream, and later in the day for the market analysis session. So I guess I'll see you guys then. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.